This podcast contains adult themes, sexual content, and strong language. Listener discretion is advised.
We acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands on which this podcast is recorded and produced, the Jagera and Turrbal peoples, and the traditional owners of the lands wherever this podcast is being heard. We honour the long and rich history of storytelling on country and pay our respects to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander elders past and present. Sovereignty was never ceded.
Welcome to the Historical Romance Review, the podcast where an avid romance reader and a reluctantly romantic historian chat all things romance fiction. I'm Amy, the historian.
And I'm Sarah, the romance reader.
Hi, cutie.
Hi, nerd.
How are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. Chilly.
It's cold here now.
It's cold, yeah, which is rich for Queenslanders to say, but like, it's cold, fam. It's cold.
It actually is really cold.
So we're doing our best. I'm like...
rugged up.
Yeah. I feel like even maybe last episode or one episode a few ago, I had like a big blanket over my legs or something.
Yeah.
So look, I might have to pause this record at some point to get
a blanket,
but we'll see how we go.
Yeah.
But as usual though, I feel like when the weather is slightly off, it's perfect for reading.
Perfect for reading. And it's been so rainy the last couple of weeks.
Rainy.
Like torrential rainy.
Gale force winds and stuff. Crazy stuff.
It's been insane.
Tell me, my friend, how have you been handling this weather? What have you been reading?
Oh my goodness. I'm so excited. I started the new Elsie Silver, Fever Dream.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wait, hang on.
I finished it.
The book is called Fever Dream?
The book is called Fever Dream.
Okay, I thought you were just describing your experience of reading
and it was a fever dream. No, it's called Fever Dream.
Excellent.
And I'm really excited for those of you who have read Elsie Silver. You may remember that there was a particular character, even for just Amy who's read Flawless, our very first pod episode. There's a character in there called Emmett Bush, and he's another bull rider on the circuit with Rhett and a bunch of others.
Is he the one that is like hitting on Summer at the bar?
Yes, and he's kind of a dick and we kind of hate him and like he kind of behaved kind of really poorly and like was a bit of a creep. This is his book.
Yay!
Yeah, this is his book. And he gets like a beautiful redemption story, and Elsie Silver really plays the long game because it's been like, I'm going to say about 10 books between that one where he was first introduced in the world and his actual book.
Is he in the others? In that
He's
series?
in some
like,
of
does
them.
he appear?
Yes,
okay.
yes, he appears in a bunch of the others. And so we know this character, but do we know this character?
Do we really know him?
Do we know him actually? And it turns out we don't. And actually, I really loved it. I really loved it.
Oh, that's
it was
so
really good. So
good.
it was a lot of fun to read over the last, I think I read it in like 3 days or something.
Yeah, I was going to say, like for you probably just like ate it up in like an hour or two.
It was really good. I really enjoyed it. And now I've moved on to a Rebecca Yarros, who wrote Fourth Wing, but she also does contemporary romance.
I was going to say, I remember kind of finding that out about her when we read Fourth Wing.
Yeah.
That she'd written like 10 books or something before that. So like Fourth Wing was like, you know, like most people get viral famous off their debut or something like that. It's like, no, girl's
she's
been at it a long time.
Ages. So there's a book by, it's called The Last Letter. No spoilers, please. But one of my colleagues, shout out Lauren if you ever listen to this, she was like, no, you must read it. She was crying by chapter 4.
Oh my
apparently.
gosh.
And I'm already knowing, like I'm only in like chapter 2 and I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be such a sad book. But I don't really know anything about it.
Okay.
And I'm just like kind of diving in and I'm really enjoying it. And I'm excited to read a contemporary of Rebecca Yarros's because I enjoyed Fourth Wing.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed Fourth Wing too for what it was. The others got a little bit, out of control.
So what I was telling Lauren is that it's because like she was really under the pump from her editors and like publisher, and they made her like publish these books really, really fast, and it actually like destroyed her mental health. And so she took a break and she's written a contemporary novel in between. So Onyx Storm came out, and then there's going to be other Empyrean, like others in that series, and she took a break over the last year and a half or so, 2 years.
Good.
And she's written a contemporary romance, and now she's back to writing in the Fourth Wing world. But like she talks about it in the interviews and socials and stuff where she was like, no, I'm doing it more healthy and like taking my time with it. They came out really fast, and I think you can tell that it was maybe a bit rushed within
the second book is like, what was it called? Something, but it's on the
Iron Flame
was pretty crap.
Yeah,
to be fair. And I remember hearing about as well from someone that it was supposed to be 2 books,
Yes.
and then they made her cut it down and mush it
yes.
together,
Yep.
and it ended up kind of being about nothing. Like, we end up in exactly the same place
Yeah.
at the end of the book as we do at the beginning. Onyx Storm at least progressed the story a bit more, but not
Yeah.
that much. And it sucks
It's
for
a
her.
disappointing thing because like the premise. Anyway, we're not going to talk about this book
No,
today.
this is not a fourth wing review episode.
It's disappointing because like the premise is so cool and the world is really interesting, and the fact that the publishing like schedule has kind of like fucked with the story so much sucks.
And the thing that is interesting is like it doesn't even make sense to me. Like, I understand wanting to kind of capitalize on the buzz, but the buzz was so huge.
It would have lasted.
It would have, of course it
Yeah.
fucking would have.
Yeah.
Like, then when the next book comes out, people would have lost their minds.
Yes.
Like, it's not like, and you know, this is no shade on like Elsie Silver or M. Han or anything like that. Like, they are beloved authors that have a huge following. And they get buzz every time they drop a new book because
Yeah.
it's like dropping, you know,
Yeah.
new album, and you
Yes,
get like, oh, I
yes.
can't wait to read it. But this is a book in a series,
Yes.
a fantasy series
Yes.
that people are obsessed with. Literally everyone is going to be buzzing about it. You don't need to destroy the author
Yeah.
and like work her like a fucking horse
Yeah.
to push out 3 books in 2
I know.
years. Like,
It was really
disgusting,
sad.
especially when it then damages the product.
Yes,
and the
then
reputation
people
of that
are
author.
less excited about it because they maybe didn't even finish that 3rd book.
Yeah,
Lots of
'cause they were
people
like, oh,
didn't bother
shit.
because they
Yeah.
were like, the 2nd book I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so her contemporary stuff
Yeah.
is quite good so far. As I'm reading it.
Interesting.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
about you? What have you been reading?
Well, I have been, obviously, apart from reading for the pod, I have been reading a little bit of contemporary lit fic, which is usually where I'm at in between my fantasies. And I read Yesteryear,
Yes.
which has been very topical, very chatted about. And I'm actually talking about that one soon with some of my high school girlfriends in our book club. And look, I did enjoy it. I think that there was some stuff that was done really well and like really interesting commentary, but then a lot of the commentary was also just kind of like, yeah, like being a woman sucks. We get it. Like, it doesn't matter if you're this, you know, trad wife type woman with certain values, or she contrasts herself a lot with some of the other characters that she meets at college who are all, you know, partying, drinking, and just like having random sex with random people and being kind of, you know, not happy, and they're not really finding themselves, and then getting sucked into the corporate world. And she's like, oh, look how amazing my life is, that I'm like doing this, and I have this husband and these children and this farm and la 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 la. But like, all of the women are unhappy.
Yeah.
All of them are suffering deeply from all of, you know, because patriarchy. And so I was a little bit like, yeah, this is not a hot take.
Yeah.
Like, we know this. So I was a little bit bored by that, of just, you know, yes, we know that being a woman sucks no matter your class or your background or your religion. And then some of the trad wife stuff was interesting, but also, I don't know, some of it just didn't really land. It felt a bit shallow and a bit surface in some places. And I feel like the author, the research she did to kind of write about women in religious groups and also kind of in this trad wife thing, it was very shallow research, and she was kind of, a lot of it was just stereotyped based off what you would see on social media, whereas I think I would have enjoyed it more if there was a deeper analysis of like this character's actual faith and, you know, how she came to think and feel these kinds of things. It just felt a little bit like, well, what it is, which is an outsider writing that story based off what they think it is, which is kind of true but not the whole story. I think the most successful part of it was the bits where it sort of made commentary on the use of children in social media.
Interesting.
And filming your kids and people that like, you know, momfluences and stuff.
Yeah.
That was the strongest. That was really fascinating because it
Interesting.
involved the characters.
Yeah.
And they were stepping through and like working out this stuff and playing out these ethical dilemmas in real time. But everything else just felt a little bit like a slightly shallow, stereotypical story about archetypes, not actual people. So, I don't know. I'd recommend it. It's an interesting read, but I don't think it's
As
worthy
revolutionary.
of the hype. I don't think it's worth the hype of people are like, oh my God. I'm like, eh.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. I look forward to seeing Anne Hathaway in the film adaptation, obviously, so we'll see how we go. Okay, that's what we've like been reading, but we're not talking about any of those books today. We've both been reading something else, which we are talking about today. What are we talking about today, Sarah?
I'm very excited to talk about this particular book. It is actually one of my favorite books by one of my favorite authors. And if you've listened to our previous episode, our State of the Field episode that we released a couple weeks ago, we teased this book. We teased the tropes that were in this book because we were talking about tropes. And you might remember because we invited Shania on to talk with us. She changed my whole world.
She did.
Telling me about a particular trope that is in another one of my favourite books and movies, Anne of Green Gables. And believe it or not, that has a lot to do with today's book.
It does.
And we also teased that one of Amy's favourite tropes ever, the best friend's brother trope, is also in this book. So if anybody guessed it, shout it out, let us know. No. Can we hear you saying it? No. So the book we are reviewing today is This Summer Will Be Different by Carley Fortune.
Carley Fortune! Yay!
Oh my goodness, I can't wait. I actually love this book so much, and I love Carley Fortune so much, and I actually might melt down. I might just be a puddle in this
The
chair.
whole podcast today might just be Sarah like constantly
Squealing.
like,
I just can't handle it because this book means so much to me on so many different levels, and we'll go into that. But I'm so glad that you finally read it, and you finally read it, Carley Fortune. I've been waiting so long to introduce you to Carley Fortune because I just love her, and I'm so excited.
Readers, listeners, since I met Sarah and we sort of first started bonding over books, and she's telling me about romance, Carley Fortune is a name that she's mentioned right from the get-go as an author that she loves and who does things really well. And yeah, this is my first Carley Fortune, and you know, without any spoilers of the review thus far, pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Well, that's 2 thumbs up from me.
Yay.
So yes, it's a very special milestone for the pod. And yeah, so much to talk about.
So much to talk about.
So we should probably just dive in. So I am going to give my no spoilers kind of general book recap if you're interested to learn what it's about but you don't want all the nitty gritty. So basically, yes, This Summer Will Be Different follows Lucy Ashby, who her friend calls B. And it is set on Prince Edward Island. So there you go. Straight away the Anne of Green Gables vibes are so strong.
Oh my gosh, maybe we should I'll give a little bit about Anne of Green Gables so that you can understand, maybe.
Okay.
Okay, should I do that now or should we do it later?
I mean, no, give it now.
Give it now? Okay.
Yeah.
Anne of Green Gables is a book series written ages ago by an author named Lucy Maud Montgomery, first of the Easter eggs. Lucy Maud Montgomery. She wrote this book series about a young girl named Anne Shirley who was an orphan in Canada who, through a series of mishaps, gets accidentally sent to Prince Edward Island to live with a brother and sister who are living together, Matthew and Marilla. And it's kind of she's about 13 when that happens, and it follows her story and her journey growing up, living on Prince Edward Island, which is way on the east coast of Canada. And it's just absolutely gorgeous place and kind of... Yeah, anyway, that's a very, very general overview of Anne of Green Gables. And there's a very, very famous movie series with Megan Follows. I think it's from 1985, maybe, something. I should know that. I love them. I've watched them probably 20 times each. I was obsessed with them growing up. Anyway, so Anne of Green Gables is the love of my life, and I love it so much. Hence, the fact that it's set on Prince Edward Island is very cool.
And they're like books targeted at sort of like young readers, like maybe like
middle grade kind of.
Yeah, middle school, like early high school kind of for Australian audiences, middle school for American, and and so lots of young women mostly, but like lots of young people like read these books in that formative period and are just like, it's just beloved. They just love it so much. Don't come for me. I've never read Anne of Green Gables.
That's okay.
And I've never seen any of the adaptations. I've known always about all the hype. Okay, she's coming for me for the adaptations.
I can't believe it. The reason I'm not coming for you for not having read them is because I didn't either. I read abridged versions when I was a kid, and I have since gone and audiobooked the most of the first one. My plan is to audiobook all of them because I just think they're just delightful. And Lucy Maud Montgomery is an excellent writer. They are incredible books. But the fact that you haven't watched any of the adaptations, I'm not coming for you, but it's just shocking to me, knowing your love of period kind of pieces.
Especially when Anne with an E came out.
Anne with an E came out on Netflix.
Yeah, and that was kind of a big revival for a lot of people.
Yes.
So I think my mum never was into them, so I was never introduced to any of them as a kid. None of my high school friends were really into it, so it's just like it was never around me. So Anne with an E was probably the first adaptation that I had access to.
Yeah.
And I just was like, oh, I'll read the books, or like I'll get to that at some point. Because I didn't have like an obsession with it already. I wasn't that keen to watch it. But I do have the book. I have, however, read Jane of Lantern Hill.
Okay.
Which is an L.M. Montgomery, and it's a very similar vibe, set on Prince Edward Island, and I love that book.
Yeah.
It was gifted to me by a very, very, very dear friend, Caitlin, who does the artwork for our podcast. She gifted it to me in a period of my life where I was very unwell, really, really sick. And she was like, this book is like easy to read, and it's also just like diving into a warm cup of tea. It's just like a warm hug.
Yeah.
It's so whimsical and beautiful. You'll love it. And I read it and it like changed my life.
Yeah.
And it was so beautiful.
Yeah.
So it's very special to me for lots of reasons. So I love Jane of Lantern Hill.
Yeah.
And I think I started trying to read Anne of Green Gables after that. And it was almost like she was like too whimsical. She was like too much. And I was like, Anne, like, relax,
Anne, what's
bro.
going on?
Whereas Jane was like a little bit more chill.
Yeah.
Anyway. Important stuff. Very
Important
good.
stuff for context for reading this book. Obviously, you don't have to have read Anne of Green Gables or even understand anything about Anne of Green Gables to read this book. It will still be a beautiful story without it.
Yeah.
Having known and loved Anne of Green Gables, I will go through it later, but I have a long list of Easter eggs that Carley Fortune has dropped into this book. But that's a little bit of context. Back to the story.
So that's the background. And I think we can safely assume, right, that Carley Fortune is an Anne of Green Gables girly.
I shall talk about this when I talk about Carley Fortune.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
So yeah, the basic plot of this, Lucy, is she's like late 20s, I think she's like 28 or something like that.
Yeah.
28, 29. She lives and works in Toronto, but her best friend Bridget, who is like her just like bestie of all time, grew up on Prince Edward Island. And so the story sort of follows their friendship in a period of change, and we also get a bunch of flashbacks to various summers that Lucy has spent on the island with Bridget and her family. The first chapter, the opening of the book, is like 5 years before, and it's Lucy's first time visiting the island. She's supposed to meet Bridget there, but Bridget's flight gets delayed or she misses it or something, so Lucy arrives like a day earlier than she does. She goes to this oyster bar, like she goes to a restaurant, meets this incredibly hot guy, like absolutely delicious guy. They have instant chemistry. It's incredible, amazing. She's like, I have nothing to do. Let's just have a little fling.
Yeah.
Like, she's not into relationships. She's into just like having some fun. They have this incredible night and next morning together. Amazing, just like incredible, the best thing ever. And then she realizes when he talks about having to go like she has to go get her friend from the airport, that the man she has just slept with, Felix, is Bridget's younger brother. So that is the opening chapter, and then the rest of the kind of book follows. We get flashbacks to each subsequent summer or other times when Lucy has visited Prince Edward Island with Bridget, or Felix has come to Toronto.
Yep.
And basically, like, they're obsessed with each other.
Yeah.
They have the hots for each other. But Bridget very clearly says to Lucy, these are my 3 rules for our trip to the island. We're going to gorge ourselves on seafood, leave the city behind, like no talking about work, and don't fall in love with my brother.
Yep.
And she's like, no worries. Whoopsies.
Oops.
Already had sex with
Already
him like
done.
5 times. And yeah, it was really hot. And now I'm kind of into him.
And he's now around all the time,
Yes.
hanging out with us.
So the story goes between like the flashbacks to those previous summers where obviously every time, even though they attempt not to, they end up sleeping together or having some kind of romantic encounter.
Yeah.
And the present day where Bridget is about to get married. We're like a week or just over a week out from her wedding, and she goes AWOL, and she's gone home to Prince Edward Island. She's just like up and left to Prince Edward Island, and Lucy's like, what the hell? We were supposed to have a dress fitting. Like, what's going on? She's like, I just needed to be home. And I need you here with me. Please come to the island. I need you at the island. And Lucy's like, this is so weird. Obviously something's going on. But like, she never asks for help, so I'm just going to go and be with her. So she kind of drops everything, immediately goes to the island to be with Bridget. And we don't know for a very long time
Bridget
what's
doesn't
actually
say.
happening.
Yep.
But that's the kind of current tension, is Lucy is there on the island trying to figure out what's going on with Bridget, who's just like weepy and crying and like all nostalgic. Obviously then the sexy younger brother is around, but there's weird vibes between him and Lucy because last summer something happened. She really put her foot in it and, they haven't spoken since.
They haven't spoken for a year.
That's the setup.
That's the setup.
So that's the like current day premise and then interspersed with like the flashbacks of the previous summers, and it is delicious.
Yes.
And I will say, my annotation on that first chapter,
oh my gosh,
this is not a spoiler, but this is my annotation here, let me get it up, is, because I guess it's like a prologue or something. Okay.
Oh yeah, the prologue, yeah.
This is my annotation, and it needs to be on the record. It's seriously the best first chapter of any romance we've ever read. That's my summary of the first chapter. It's so good.
It's so good. It
the
sets it up
setup
so
is incredible. It's just like, oh my God, it's amazing.
It is really good. We need to talk more about that when we get into the deep dive into it. But like her writing, everything, like, it's delicious.
Perfect.
It's perfect. It's amazing.
Everything you want from a romance book, and my really garbled summary does not do it justice. Like that first chapter is perfect.
Yeah.
And just like, by the end of it, you're like kicking your feet.
And you're like, oh my God, this is so exciting. And I just can't wait to keep reading. Yeah.
Okay,
oh my gosh.
Before we get into that.
It's so good.
Is there anything else?
I actually need to calm down.
Now, we're going to have to put a timer on this so that we're not here for an hour and a half and telling us about Carley. But that being said, how does this book fit into Carley Fortune's kind of universe?
Yes.
And like, what's the vibe? Tell us more about her. Who is she?
Fantastic.
Is this on brand for her? What's the vibe?
This is incredibly on brand for her. So Carley is a Canadian author. She lives in Toronto with her family. But interestingly, she grew up in Australia. Which is a super
that's
fun little
interesting
fact.
because that comes up in the story too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I wondered why she knew the inner
How did
west
she
suburbs.
know about Sydney? How did she know about all this stuff? Like, what's going on, chickie? Yeah, so she grew up in Australia, which is very cool, but then I think at some point in her life has gone back and settled down living in Canada. So she has 5 full-length contemporary romance novels, and each of them she describes in her author's note at the end of this book. She describes each of those books. At the time, there was only just 3 books, so this is her 3rd, but it is relevant for the other books that she's written since. They're each a love letter to a place in Canada, which is very beautiful. So she wrote her first novel, Every Summer After, in 2022, and it's a love letter about Barry's Bay, where she went. I don't know exactly where that is in Canada, but I think it's like, it's a legitimate real place where she went growing up, I think. And you may be interested to know that Every Summer After has been adapted to a TV series by Amazon Prime, and it's coming out on June 10th.
Wow.
So in just over a week.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Okay, well I gotta get reading.
This is what my recommendation is for you. You wanted to read another Carley Fortune.
Okay.
I think you should read Every Summer After. It's called Every Year After. They've changed the name of it. I know, I'm like, what's the point of that? Anyway, it's coming out. I have read it. It is actually my least favorite of hers. It's still good. It's still good, but for reasons.
Okay.
But I think you'll enjoy it. We obviously can't talk about it now, but let us know if you want us to read Every Summer After and then review it. So that was her first book. Her second book was Meet Me at the Lake. She published that in 2023, and it's about Toronto. This is the only book of hers I haven't read yet. Oh. It's the only one I need to read, and I will do soon. Then we've got her third novel, This Summer Will Be Different, came out in 2024, and obviously it's about PEI, Prince Edward Island. And then we've got One Golden Summer, came out last year in 2025, also about Barry's Bay. And it is a kind of interconnected second book from Every Summer After.
Okay, cool.
So I was going to say that they are all standalone books, and I actually read One Golden Summer before Every Summer After, so I read the story kind of backward, but it still makes sense.
Yeah, nice.
And then she had a book that just came out in May this year called Our Perfect Storm, which is about Tofino, which is on Vancouver Island.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, Vancouver Island is beautiful. I have been to Vancouver and into Kelowna in like the middle of Canada, or a little bit further in, but I have not yeah, not been any further. I would love to travel more
Me
in
too.
Canada. I
Me
really want to
too.
go to Prince Edward.
I'm desperate to go to Prince Edward Island.
Obviously, we're going to do a trip.
So, speaking of, Carley Fortune absolutely just loves Anne of Green Gables, and she did write about that in her author's note. And she really loves PEI. She's visited PEI. I think the really interesting thing is every book she writes and every place that she writes about, she has visited multiple times. And I think you can really sense that in the book because it does feel very grounded in place.
And really authentic as well.
Really
it's not like
authentic.
she's just researched it. It's like she's been there, she's experienced it, and she attaches certain memories and feelings to these places and experiences.
Totally.
Like, I so picked that up from this. Yeah.
Even like the book I just read of hers, Our Perfect Storm, I read that a couple of weeks ago, set in Tofino. There was a description of a restaurant that the couple went to, and I looked it up, and it's a real restaurant, and she described it perfectly. And it's like, oh my God, okay, so she's been here. She's been to that restaurant.
So
she is
cool.
writing about this, and she's put it in her book. Like, yeah, it makes it feel very authentic. Yes, and so she's put lots and lots of Easter eggs in. So she's just an absolute Anne fan, just like me. And you can feel that. You can sense it in the book.
And that's nice because it's like, obviously all of her books you said are like a love letter to a place, but then this is almost like, this is her indulging in her own like special kind of, like, it's not quite fanfic, right? But it's like that similar vibe of like, and I think in the author's note at the end of my edition, she just talks about her goal with this book was to just have fun.
Yeah.
Because the writing of the previous book like really took a toll on her mental health. And she was like, I just wanted to enjoy the process of creating this story with these people, and she's like, I had so much fun with it. It was so amazing. And I also think that comes across in it. It's a really joyful read. Like, you know, there's nothing too heavy. It's not too like, even though there's tension and, you know, what's going to happen?
And big
like,
themes that are still like important to discuss. There's nothing too intense.
like it's even, you know, there's a mention of a death kind of off page or something, you know, but it's mostly pretty chill, and it's just people feeling big feelings and doing stuff, but you never at any point feel like under threat or stressed, or it's just lovely. It's really great.
Yes. So
perfect. Okay,
let's dive in.
Well, at this point, we're going to do our in-depth book review. So if you don't want any more spoilers, pause it here and go and read the book and then come back.
And I definitely recommend you go read it.
Yes, we definitely do.
So, Amy, what did you like the most about this book?
Well, I feel like we've already sort of talked a little bit about it, but I think that the standouts for me were the setting, the premise, and the characterization.
Oh my gosh,
and all those three things worked together
so beautifully.
So I grew up in a coastal town, so I always am really drawn to stories that take place in that like small town romance thing. Yeah. Like, I love a small town romance. It's another trope that I realized last episode I really enjoy. But I particularly like a sort of small town romance in like an island or a beach setting. Yeah. Because it just speaks to my experience growing up, and like, you know, all the kind of little fantasies I would have as like a tween and a teenager, you know, like meeting boys at the beach. And like, oh my God, like this kind of thing. So I love the island setting. Obviously, because I've read some L.M. Montgomery, I also really specifically love PEI. And as you just said, like, I think she captured it so beautifully without it feeling... Sometimes when romance authors, I think, write, because so many of them are set in these cute small towns and these, like, you know, quaint little places, it just feels like a bit twee or just... It's
on the nose almost.
Yeah, it's hard to describe, but there's just something that's not great about it.
Yeah.
I didn't have that feeling once while reading this. It was like, this story has to take place here. This is so perfect. This is so authentic. Yeah. So I loved the location. I love the setting. And the premise, incredible.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we couldn't really go wrong in my recommendation of this to you, given it's your favourite trope. Yes. And set in such a beautiful spot. And I know Carley Fortune's a great writer. Yes. Like, I knew this was going to be a winner.
It literally ticked so many boxes for me. And so I'm obsessed with the trope. And I've said it before on pod, is that often with romance books, I feel like the setup is so good. Like the one sentence tagline, the like publisher's little tidbit that they put out on the poster is always so good and it hooks you in. But most of the time they just don't really deliver, or it like peters out halfway through or something like that. And it's just like, oh, this was a really cool concept and a great hook, but I got bored of it.
Deliver. Yeah.
This just the whole way through, it was perfect. And I think there's a few reasons why I think it works so well. Obviously, because she's a great author. Yeah. but I think it helped having Lucy and Bridget live separately from where Felix was. And so this tension of, I'm obsessed with this person, but I'm not allowed to be in love with them, but I can't stop having sex with them. It made sense that they were able to sustain that for like 5 or 6 years, because they really only saw each other like once or twice a year. And in that way, it felt like a summer romance where every summer you go to the same place, but she also changed the times that they were there, and they changed the circumstances of the visits.
It was never repetitive.
No, so it didn't. I got a little bit bored of that maybe with People We Meet on Vacation. It reminded me a bit of that, where it was like every year it's like, oh, here they go for their summer trip again, and they're going to go somewhere, and it's going to be like after a while that started to get a bit tired. She did a similar thing here, but was able to keep it fresh. And I think it sustained the tension, it sustained the trope, and it was just really tightly constructed. I thought she did really well.
I agree. And I think something I was thinking of is that kept it fresh as well, is that we didn't hear about what was going on for Felix when we weren't with him, when Lucy wasn't with him. And so like every time she'd come back, she'd say, like, oh, he's got his beard now, or like something had changed because it had been a year since they'd seen each other, or like circumstances were different, and like their lives carried on and didn't stay the same. I don't know if I'm describing it well, but like I'm thinking of like the fact that across those years that Lucy knows Felix, he goes through different relationships, and he starts his business, renting out those summer houses and stuff, and like with his friend Zach. There's so many like aspects where you're like, oh, okay, Carley Fortune didn't just like plop Felix down and then pick him up exactly where he was and drop him back into Lucy's story when she's comes back to the island. Like you can, I think she just did a really good job of making sure these characters like lived lives as the story progressed. And that meant it stayed fresh as well, because we were learning stuff about Felix the entire time, and about Lucy, and following her journey throughout the story. I don't know if that made sense.
Oh, it makes perfect sense. And I think you're on it too, is like sometimes with romance stories where obviously the FMC and the MMC usually are much closer together and like interacting almost all the time, it's like you get to know the love interest character relatively well quite quickly, whereas I thought that this again sustained it well, because we see Lucy getting to know him gradually over the years, and he's slightly different every time. Like he's growing up, he's maturing, he's having these experiences, and I thought that was done really well. Keeps the reader interested whilst also showing the kind of natural development of their relationship and their intimacy. So I think it was just perfect. Like, it avoided being a really cliched summer romance. It avoided being a really cliched, I want to date my best friend's brother, but I can't. Like, just by that one decision of having them live separately and that timeline and that structure, it was really well done.
I was also going to say, I think this book works really well with single point of view. Like, it's just from Lucy's point of view the entire time.
As you said, we don't hear from Felix. It's almost like he doesn't exist in between those times, and I thought that was great, because it keeps us wanting more, right? You're so right.
Some of the books that we read, I don't think any of Carley Fortune's books, and to be fair, same with Emily Henry, so maybe they're onto something there, where all of their books just have single point of view. That works really well. Obviously, dual POV works well as well for some books, and I don't dislike dual POV at all, but I think there's something really enticing about single POV, where it's like we don't actually know what Felix is thinking. We have to go with what he's saying and with his actions, and those spoke volumes. And it's those like little intimate romance tidbits that give you little butterflies, being like, oh my gosh, he remembered that she needs car snacks because she gets car sick. Like, oh my god, he's in love with her. Like, he hasn't said anything, but like, he knows, he's paying attention to her, and we can just see that through Lucy's eyes. Like, oh my gosh, I love all those moments.
And that's what was like the one thing that was, well, there were only a couple things that annoyed me about the book. Only one big one, but like, that was a little thing where it's like, because obviously, right, is like, over the progressive summers or holidays that they kind of get to know each other, and they have all these experiences. They sleep together a bunch of times, but other times it's just like
just there.
romantic kind
Yeah.
of, you know, stuff.
Yeah.
And then there's a really interesting one where he actually comes to Toronto and they're both in relationships. And I
Yeah.
thought that was really well done, where they
Yeah.
have dinner together and they're like
Yes.
friendly and like clearly into each other, but not, it's not overly sexual. And they just
No.
like really love spending time together.
Yeah.
And they're kind of just being like, this is like amazing. And also like, I'm happy for you, but also like,
But this
love
kind of
you.
sucks. Yeah.
Anyway, it was just, yeah, it was good. But so we see the relationship progress, and obviously Lucy is like gradually realizing that she is in love with this man, but she has this thing in her head, right? It's like Bridget is her everything. Bridget
Yeah.
is her best friend, and she told me I can't be in love with her brother, so like I just can't do
can't
this.
cross
We
this
can't do
line.
it. La la la. She clings onto that for a while. And then she starts clinging on to the like, oh, well, he obviously doesn't like me more than just like a fling. Like, you know, I'm just a good time for him. I'm just like a summer
When I come
vibe.
to the island, we hook up,
We
and
hook
but
up
that's
and
it.
it's fine. La 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 la.
Yeah, I'm not on his mind as much as he's on mine.
And I was just like, I was like, wake up to yourself. Like, get
Yeah.
a fucking grip. Like, right from the beginning, like all those little things and all that stuff.
He does
Even just the
so
way
much.
he looks at her.
Yes. There's this photo. There's this photo
my
that
God,
they
the
mentioned.
photo!
The photo. I love this photo. There's a photo. Actually, I'll bring the quote up because it's like in like the second chapter or something. It's like really early. Okay, eighth chapter. It's chapter 8. It's still very early, but it's like I think it's when. It's one of the times that she's come back. She was there. Lucy was at PEI for Thanksgiving with Bridget and Felix's family, and there's this photo that's taken, and then she's seeing it a couple of years later, or the next year or something, and it says, "We were on the couch laughing, both of us in sweaters. It was taken the year I came for Thanksgiving. Felix is in the photo, sitting in the armchair, his eyes clamped on me," and. It's I think it's a really special moment where she's realizing, she's looking at this photo and she's like, oh my God, literal like photo evidence of the fact that he cannot stop looking at me.
And everyone else can see it.
And everyone else also gets
Yeah.
it. And I think that's also partly why Bridget is worried, because I think she can also see what's happening. But anyway, there's so many things from so early on. He's
And do you
just
know,
obsessed with her.
It reminded me of, I don't know if you've seen this clip from Trixie and Katya from their podcast, and it's like they're talking about Bad Bunny.
Oh, Bad Bunny.
And, you know, they were just like laughing about how, well, at first they were just like thirsting over him because he's divine.
Gorgeous.
And they were like laughing about how insane it is that all like the conservatives in America were like, I can't understand him. Like, what's he saying? You speak English. Trixie's like, I don't speak like a word of Spanish, but I knew that man was singing about like wanting to open me up. Like I knew that he wanted to fuck me. Like I got it.
We
It
all
was
got the
really
message.
clear.
None of us need to speak Spanish, but we all get
We get it. And that's what I was thinking about with this, where it like all the descriptions of Felix is like every time he looks at her and touches her and just like, and then all the sweet,
Yes,
you know,
the
attentive
very
things
lovely,
that he does.
yeah.
And Lucy's like, oh, like, you know, whatever, like he's just like a nice guy. And I'm like, shut up. Are you blind?
I think it's because she doesn't want to realize her own feelings either.
Of course,
Like
of
she's
course.
like using that as an excuse. She's fully projecting. She's like, he couldn't possibly like me. Like convincing herself to believe that.
It's just, I guess maybe it's just remarkable to me, the effort that people go through to delude themselves. Like, I don't have that kind of stamina for that kind of delusion. Do you know what I mean? Like, I might keep it up for a little while, and then if, like, he's looking at me the way that Felix is looking at her, I'm like, well, I guess he wants to fuck me, I suppose.
Yeah.
And then all the beautiful, intimate, lovely times that they have, and then when they start sending each other, like, books and seed packets
Oh my
and
gosh,
shit. Like,
I actually
shut
really
up.
love that. It's
It was so cute.
sweet.
And I'm like, you've dated other men.
Yeah.
You have dated other straight men. How are you not
aware that this is particular behavior that means something?
And this is exceptional.
Yeah.
Has every like random date that you've gone,
No.
like, have you had this kind of sexual experience? Have you felt this held and seen? Has he bought you presents? Has he cared for you? Has he remembered little things you said from 5 years ago? No, because like most of the time people don't do that.
Yeah, this is like,
ugh.
yeah.
Anyway, so that was like a minor thing that I didn't love, because I was just like, okay, I know we need to have her sort of like deluding herself for most of it to kind of carry the plot along. And then there was a moment right towards the end where she kind of realizes that he is in love with her and that she's in love with him. But then the issue becomes like, well, we can't, even though we love each other, we can't be together because Bridget said no, and also like it's just going to be a disaster, and so like now I'm saving both of us from being in this situation. So yeah, in terms of like beautifully plotted, everything was amazing.
Well paced.
That was the one little thing that I was just a little bit like, alrighty, like I know that this is kind of realistic and fair, but like, come on.
Yeah.
And that's just because I'm impatient.
I was going to say, I think this is a common complaint that we've heard from Amy.
I'm impatient with the introspection. Just like know thyself, babe.
Know thyself and face up to it.
And just like, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Let's get down to it.
I mean, I won't say it right now because this is not the sex and the intimacy part, but there is a quote that literally is, let's just get down to it. Like, let's just do it. And it's funny. I really enjoy it. So stay listening to hear that quote if you want to hear it later. Well, yes, I pretty much agree. I love so much about this book, and there's a lot about it that really I love as well because of all the Anne of Green Gables stuff. Can someone do a tally of how many times I can speak about Anne of Green Gables in this episode? But yes, I really do love it. And the one other thing that I was going to say, which you kind of alluded to, and we will dive into later, is the third act breakup that happens. Now, third act breakups can be quite controversial. Lots of people don't like a third act breakup, but I think this one made a lot of sense for the characters and where they're at. Too, yeah. So we can dive into that later. But that was the last thing I had that I actually really liked. And shall we move into the things we didn't like? You've mentioned one of them.
I sort of mentioned that device, which again, like I think I want to preface though is even the things that I didn't really like, Carley Fortune did such a good job with these characters. They were all really fully fleshed out. Like you said, Felix is like a whole person with his own story outside of Lucy, and we see that. Even the things that I didn't really like, they weren't enough for me to dislike the characters that much. Like there was nobody in this book that I hated. There was nobody that I was like, shut up.
Even Bridget.
Actually, I did.
Let's
tell
get
Bridget
into
to
that
shut up
because
a little bit.
because I know the thing that we like the least.
Yes.
Both of us. It's the same thing, and it's to do with Bridget, and it's the fact that Bridget didn't actually communicate at all with Lucy for days, because it is multiple days after she's like sad and lonely and is like, come to the island with me, I need you, and then just like doesn't tell her what's going on. Tells everybody else before her as well. Like she tells everybody else what's going on. And now this is the spoilerful bit, but major spoiler.
I was going to say, did you pick it?
So the first time when I was reading it, I did not pick it. I got super surprised. Second time reading it for the pod, no, I'd forgotten. I was reading through it again, and I remember like the first. I was like, oh my god, no! I literally had forgotten, which is actually stunning because I got to be like, okay. So there was a part early on in like the first day that like Lucy arrives back on Prince Edward Island in the current timeline. Like Bridget's messed up, where they have like some whiskey together or something, and my annotation is, okay, so she's not pregnant, because I think in my mind it was that she's pregnant and she's freaking out, and then I was like, okay, so she's drinking, so she's not pregnant, or she's just drinking while she's pregnant and she's being a bit foolish. So I know that at least that early on in my reread I still had forgotten, but then eventually I was like, oh yeah, that's right, this is what happens. So what happens is Bridget eventually tells Lucy that she and Miles, who is Bridget's fiance, soon-to-be husband, moving to Australia, all the way around the world, because Miles got a good job out there. Yes. And Bridget's excited for it, but also devastated and terrified to move so far away from Lucy and family and everything. And so she was like, let's have one last hurrah, basically, at the house Summer Wind, which is their family house on PEI. So that's kind of the big reveal right at the end, which
we get
blindsides Lucy.
Right to the end, And like the sort of backstory is right, like Lucy comes from a family that are pretty uptight, have put a lot of time and energy into her brother, who played like hockey at a pretty competitive level. Whereas like Bridget's family is like loose and fun and chipper and amazing, and she's like
supportive
just like,
and kind,
and she's like, this is the family I wish I had. So, and also Lucy never really made friends at university, and so she was sort of a bit adrift until she meets Bridget when they meet in the workplace together in Toronto, and they're like instant best friends. They're housemates for a period of time, and Lucy never really like has other friends or does literally anything else. So when Bridget moves out, because she moves in with Miles, who is her boyfriend at the time, she takes on, like, she keeps the apartment herself and kind of lives there alone, and she runs her own business. She's a florist.
Her aunt's florist.
Oh, yeah, her aunt's
who is
florist,
like her closest family member is her aunt. I was like, Harriet, cool, but better. Like Harriet from oh god, what was it called? That one, the bad one.
Oh, fuck, the Good Spirits.
Good Spirits.
Yeah,
the terrible one where Harriet
exactly.
like runs her aunt's shop, and that
And
her
her
aunt
aunt
was her
also dies of
closest, and her
cancer.
aunt dies. I was like, this is literally Harriet, but like better done.
Yeah, so Lucy's aunt does also die of cancer at some point.
Yeah.
And so this is the thing, right? Her aunt has died a year before. She's super messed up. She's really overworked and all stressed. And so then Bridget finds out that her and Miles are going to move to Australia. And so her theory is, well, firstly, I don't really even know how I feel about this, even though, like, I know it's a great opportunity for him, so we're probably going to have to go. I have big feelings that I'm trying to process. And also, I don't want to tell Lucy because she's
going to
really,
fall apart.
She'll fall apart. Like, she lost her aunt, who is, like, the closest person to her in the world.
She's drowning at work.
And she literally has no fucking life. She doesn't do anything. She doesn't have any other friends except Bridget. And so, like, their dynamic is not particularly healthy.
No.
Which I think is a reflection of why they then keep secrets from each other. And obviously, Lucy is keeping the secret of the fact that
Felix,
she's in love with Felix and has been sleeping with him randomly
for
over
5
the
years.
And Bridget is keeping the secret that they're going to move to Australia.
Yeah.
So I get it. But also, yes.
But like, it was very frustrating.
And I feel like it undermined the strength of friendship that they were supposed to have. And I guess that's also a choice of, like, it's showing that actually this was a really unhealthy part to this friendship.
Yeah.
But I just feel like it totally undermined that. And it didn't make any sense to me that your soulmate, like, you know, in the wedding speech, she calls Bridget the love of her life, which is so real. I so get that. Yeah. But, like, it makes no sense to me that you have that level of intimacy and love for someone and you don't tell them, like, even if Bridget's like, holy fuck, I don't know what to do, holy shit, oh my god. Yeah. You would surely sit down with Lucy and be like, this just happened. I know. And, like, cry about it and talk about it.
And that way you could spend the, 4 or 5 days that Lucy spends on PEI grieving together, reminiscing together, going to all your favorite places together, like, making some new memories and talking about plans. When are we going to go to visit to Australia? Like, how are we going to be staying in contact? Are we going to do phone calls? Are we going to do video calls? Like, I don't know. That's what I'm doing as I'm thinking about a big move that's similar to this.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm talking with my friends and being like, hey, what would work for you? Have you done long distance friendships before? Like, how are we going to make this happen?
Yeah, going about it in an entirely different way.
Talk to people, grieve together, feel your feelings together. It makes more sense.
Yeah.
I know, I was so angry at Bridget. I've literally written down multiple times, like, I'm just so pissed off. And then I highlighted this one part in my page 70 where Lucy says, I can't decide whether to be concerned about her or annoyed. Scratch that, I can be both. And I was like, yeah, girl, be both. I'm annoyed, just communicate. For fuck's sake.
I had that too in really the early stuff of just like, so these are my annotations. So one thing that I noticed is, like, when in the current timeline, when they get to PEI and Felix comes and picks them up from the airport, or picks Lucy up from the airport. Obviously Bridget's already there. And then Bridget's like, stay here with us. I want it to be like old times. Like, and he's like, no, I have a house. I live on the other side of the island. Like, I have stuff to do. Like, I'm not just, like, gonna fucking drop everything and stay with you. Like, Lucy's dropped everything. You've made her drop everything. Her whole life. She put off
also
this huge meeting.
This huge meeting because she's a florist and she's running this business and she's got this huge opportunity to provide flower services for this massive company, which could make a big difference to her business. And also, she's doing the flowers for your wedding, Bridget, in a week.
Which is in like 8 days. You fucking bitch.
Insane.
Like, anyway, and so there's that exchange. She's like, stay at the housing, please, like, blah, blah, blah. And there's this comment where he's kind of like, no, whatever. And then Lucy's like interior monologue is like, oh, he's good at setting boundaries, although it's always a bit harder with Bridget. And my annotation is, Bridget is starting to feel manipulative, asking people who she knows will say yes.
Yes.
And I felt that way with Lucy. It's like, she knows the hold that she has on Lucy, and she knows that.
She knows Lucy's weakness is feeling alone.
Yeah, because
and abandoned.
She's like, because she's her best friend.
Yeah.
And she exploits that by being like, I need you here. I need you. And so
and
Lucy
the fact that, like Lucy said, like, Bridget never asked for help because she's chronically hyper independent. And so this is like tugging on Lucy's heartstrings as well, because she's like, oh my god, this must be really bad because Bridget's asking for help, but she never asked for help.
And it's frustrating because all of this is done under the guise of like Bridget doesn't want to tell Lucy this earth-shattering news because Lucy has issues with abandonment and feeling alone and just like losing her people. And so the solution to not do that is to like
spring it on her later.
Well, the solution is to like manipulate her and guilt trip her into coming and being with you whilst you don't actually healthily process your feelings and still end up kind of like fucking her over. And like the damage you do to the friendship during that period of time where Lucy's like, okay, so I need to go back tomorrow night because I have this huge client meeting, and she's like, darling, please, I need you. And she's like, what's going on? She's like, I can't tell you.
Yeah, she literally says, I can't. She says, I'm not ready to tell you. Page 124. Yeah.
I'm not ready to tell you.
Like halfway through the book.
And I'm like, you're getting married in like 4 days at this point. You haven't said anything. It's obviously the natural assumption is that like something has happened with her and Miles.
Yes.
And so then Lucy is like, so am I making flowers for your wedding? Is it still ahead? I have to go to a flower auction and spend thousands of dollars on getting flowers for you, but I'm not even sure if the wedding is going to happen. Like, can you just communicate to me?
Yeah.
So that was my first annotation of like Bridget's starting to feel manipulative.
Yeah.
And then like a chapter later, Bridget is selfish. And then, because it's like when she is saying about she needs to go back, and Felix has an oyster shucking competition. And if Lucy goes back when she wants to go back, which is Sunday afternoon, she'll miss the shucking competition. And Bridget is like, he'll be offended. And then she's like, I'll be offended too. And it's like, I sigh. If I get back first thing Monday, it'll be fine. I'll be harried, but I'm used to harried.
Yeah.
And that's what pissed me off too, is then Bridget has this whole thing of like, you're overworking yourself, you're doing too much, you need to take a break. And it's like, you're the one adding to her stress by like making her drop everything and having to put off all this work until later and then being like, can you just like stop being on your phone, please? Can you just like leave the city behind, please? We need to be here. It's like, no, bitch, she has a job. Life.
She's running a business. And like, I found that really interesting because it's like everything you've said is true. And then on top of that, like, it does, like this weekend and everything that follows after that, like does like change like Lucy's view of how she works. And like she kind of comes to be realizing like, yeah, no, this is not what I want to be doing full time, and I can take a step back from the business. And Farah, who is her like employee, I guess, is like very competent in running the business, and it kind of wakes her up in some ways to going, oh, I don't want to be this harried, I don't want to be this stressed, this business isn't where I want to be putting all my energy. So there's like good that comes out of it, but it shouldn't have come this way. It shouldn't have come because her best friend is like bullying her about
she's a bully. She's bullying her about it. And that's what is like, I like Lucy's journey that she goes on for herself. And obviously she needs external motivators and things to like trigger and push her so she can take those steps. And because her family is kind of not supportive, she does need those extra things. Yeah, and at every point her parents are trying to tell her like they didn't want her to work in the florist to begin with, and they didn't want her to take it over from her aunt when her aunt gave it up, and then they just are like, well, you should sell the business, it's a good market right now. So like they're constantly undermining her and questioning her. So I get it, but like Bridget is also not helping her to step up and realize what she wants to do on her own.
She's not being a supportive cheerleader of going like, you can do something else if you want. What do you actually want? Like, let's work through this. She's just stop what you're doing. It's not working for you. Like, it's not helpful. Like, she's just being as shit as her parents are in terms of like dictating to her. And I think that's really telling in the fact that so Lucy has a dream to have her own cut flower farm. Beautiful. And she's been dreaming about it for a long time. She loves being a florist, she loves working with flowers, but she doesn't want to be a manager, she doesn't want to run a business, she doesn't want to deal with all the paperwork, like preach. But she never tells Bridget about that dream because she knows that as soon as she does, Bridget will be like, let's look at properties, let's do this, let's do that. And it's like, needs to go at Lucy's pace. At Lucy's pace. And so it's this interesting thing of like, babe, you know that your friend is not the best friend to you because of the way that she co-opts everything and turns it into kind of something about her. In her desire to help you and like get you to get this dream, but it's becoming her thing. Yeah. And that's what I found so irritating about this whole experience. Like, yes, Lucy confronts things about herself. She makes some big decisions and she reflects on that. But she's battling Bridget the entire time to do it. Bridget is an antagonist to her in this development. And that's also the other annotation is when, you know, she's saying this thing about like, oh, and you know, like I made my rules about don't be in love with my brother, like blah blah blah. And then she's like, oh, I might have been a bit
I might have been a little bit oversensitive when I came up with that rule. And then Lucy's interior monologue is like just what an understatement. And my annotation is just Bridget is selfish.
Yeah.
Like she's selfish and she's petulant and she was irritating. And I did not like that this was the person that Lucy was so like, oh my God, she's just like my bestie. Like I just love her so much. I'm like, she sucks. I'm glad she's moving to Australia.
Yeah. Like,
bye.
Yeah. Have fun. Like, I think there's a lot of healthy things that come from that move for them.
I think so too.
And like, even the fact that like later on in the book, after the move and after the breakup, where is it? Yeah, chapter 38. So quite near the end, Lucy says, I've been doing well on my own, thriving in a way I wouldn't have thought possible. And I highlighted that because I was like, yeah, Lucy finally able to prove to herself, show herself she can stand on her own 2 feet, she can make good business decisions, she can also choose what she wants to do, she can have other friends. Like, by the end of it, she is thriving in a way that wasn't possible at the beginning with the way her relationship was with Bridget. And I think a lot of that, well, some of that has to do with the way that Felix believed in her and believed in the dream and kind of let her run with the dream as much as she wanted, but like really supported it and really, like with sending the seed packets once a week, like, and the floristry books and stuff that the cut flower farm books that he bought for her and all that sort of stuff. It's like supportive in a way that's like, this is fully yours still, but I'm here and I'm going to stay here and I'm going to keep being supportive of it. And I believe in the dream and I believe you can do it. It's like, that's what Bridget needed to be doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Why wasn't she doing that?
And I think maybe what grated me a little bit about it, right, is that like one of the through lines of this whole story is that like the actual real love story is not between Lucy and Felix, it's between Lucy and Bridget. You know, it's about sisters, it's about best friends, it's about your gal pals, like your soulmates. And like, I've just brought up Carley Fortune's website, like this quote is at the top of the page about this book, the greatest love stories aren't always romances. And that's in the book, that's a quote from the book. And I was like, I get what you're trying to do here, and I do like that these female characters are complicated and nuanced and they're not always likable, they feel very real. But like, this is not a good love story. Bridget is toxic. Like, and so around this time where I have all these annotations of her being manipulative and selfish, I also found this one right where she's like, Lucy's a little bit like, did you orchestrate this whole thing to try and stage an intervention with me with work because you think I'm working too much? And she's like, no, not at all. But like, you do need to take a break.
But
like,
also while we're talking about it,
And then she's like, oh, I guess a breather doesn't sound terrible. And then Bridget goes, I love it when you don't argue. And I'm like, ew.
Yeah.
Stop that. That's gross. And I mean, it's supposed to be gross because like the line after it is, but it's jarring. The forced smile and the mauve crescents under her eyes, and it does nothing to conceal the worry on her face.
Yeah.
So like, I get it. We're supposed to be aware of the fact that like Bridget's not in a good space and all this, but I was just like, she fucking sucks, man.
Yeah.
I don't like her as a friend.
Yeah. I think we're supposed to be able to rely on the fact that they've had 5 years of great friendship and all this kind of stuff, and this is really out of character, and that's what we're supposed to rely on. And to some extent, we can see some of that with like Lucy's description of how they would go to her aunt's place, like she and Bridget would go to her aunt's place and have these beautiful dinners, and they would go out together and they've had lots of fun and they've got all these experiences and all this history. But it's like when we're presented with that in the current timeline, like this is what it's like, and this is also what Lucy is kind of just dealing with. Like she's not, she talks about, she's like, I can't confront Bridget, otherwise it's going to be a big blow up, and it's like we need to just wait for her timing and all this sort of stuff.
And she always wins the fights.
She always wins.
She's crazy when we fight, and I'm like, that is not good.
Yeah. But she kind of recognizes this dynamic, but not entirely. So it's complex and complicated. Yeah.
I was just going to say, though, per my question from forever ago, I picked it. I picked that she was moving.
Yeah.
And I even picked that she was moving to Australia.
Really?
Yeah, because Miles, like, spent some time in Australia.
Yes.
And then his family moved to Canada and all this stuff. I was like, oh, that's interesting, specific thing to mention. And then I picked it when one of the first days that they're on PEI together, Bridget and Lucy like driving around, and it's like, it's almost like she's doing the nostalgia tour, and they try to sort of throw you off the scent by saying that they like went and parked outside of the house of like her first boyfriend or something. And so Lucy's like, are you having second thoughts about Miles? Like, are you reconnecting with an old boyfriend? What's happening? And I was like, oh no, obviously she's like moving, because this whole thing is about her like grieving and saying goodbye to Prince Edward Island. Like she's obviously moving somewhere.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, she's probably moving to Australia.
You picked it, girl.
Because I was like, why would she be so sad if she was just moving to like Calgary or like Vancouver or something? Like she's obviously moving really far. And I was like, what's the furthest possible fucking place from literally anything that anyone who is not from here doesn't even think it even exists, actually.
Yeah.
Australia, where we are. So I was really proud of myself.
Good
I was like, she's moving to Australia and she doesn't know how to tell Lucy, and also she's just like a bit of a mole.
Yeah.
So boo earns to you.
Well, that was the only thing that we both really disliked. And it's interesting because it's like, it was really annoying, but I do wonder if that is actually how we were meant to feel. Like sometimes I'm like,
so.
Carly, were you just doing like an incredible job of making us feel exactly what Lucy was feeling, of being like so annoyed and frustrated? So I can't even hate the book because of it. Like I can't dislike it, even though it's such a big frustrating thing, because it's like actually kind of clever.
It all makes sense. It all makes us feel how we're supposed to feel about the characters, and it all makes sense for the characters in their journey as well. It's not even like Bridget used to be cool and then she woke up one day and was a manipulative bitch.
No,
it's
she's like been like that.
She's like had issues around control and like, you know, letting go, and, you know, just like it is a big thing for her. She's going to miss Lucy and she's going to miss her entire life. She is processing stuff that's really hard. She's just acting out in a way that's not helpful for Lucy. So it was like, exactly, I was like begrudgingly,
fine, still good.
It's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, was that the only thing?
I think that was the only thing. Everything else I really liked. Writing style was great. Chemistry well sustained. Setting perfect. Characters deep, complex. Loved it.
Oh my gosh, incredible. So let's discuss now something that lots of people don't like, but we both liked, the third act breakup.
Yes.
It worked really well, I thought. Shall we give a little lowdown? I'm trying to... Oh yes, I wrote a little bit about this. So Lucy and Felix have they had their big whole thing one summer ago where after Lucy's aunt passes away, she just like needs some time away, and so Felix opens up one of their like houses that they rent out for her to stay in for a little while up on PEI. So she goes there, and while she's there they kind of have this like, again, they have a bit of a moment and they kind of hook up, and then it's like,
do they ever?
Yeah. And obviously Felix has been like having deep feelings for Lucy, and they've been sending the things back and forth, the books and the seeds and things. And so Lucy kind of sees all of the books that she's sent Felix, like sitting on his in his living room.
On their own shelf.
On their own shelf.
He keeps them separate from all the other books.
He keeps them separate because he just loves them so much. And she kind of realizes how some of the depth of Felix's feelings for her, and she just like freaks out and basically just drops everything. It's like, I have to go. And like they were going to spend the day together, and he was going to drop her to the airport and all this sort of stuff. But she freaks out and she just like dips, and then Felix is still like, I'll still drop you to the airport. But then he doesn't show up.
Yeah, and then he sends her a thumb emoji.
He sends her a thumbs up emoji. And so then a year goes by and they don't talk, and they're like all this sort of stuff. And then we come to the current time where Bridget is freaking out, and they get back together. They have this big discussion. They talk about the past year. They kind of realize what's going on. They realize they have all these big feelings for each other, and they kind of get together in like a proper way.
It's really nice, actually.
It's really beautiful how they get together in a like legit, like, okay, we're going to try and make this work. They then, you know, Lucy goes back to Toronto to get ready for the wedding because Bridget has announced what's actually going on. The wedding is still going ahead as planned, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, and they tell Bridget, by the way. And she's like...
She's like,
I already knew.
Known.
I knew that you guys had sex at some point, and, you know, I was just waiting for you to tell me, but also, like, whatever. And Lucy's like,
oh my
great.
God. So it was never actually a big deal. Fine. Whatever.
Anyway, so yeah, everything's out in the open. Everyone's happy. Bridget's wedding is coming up. Yay.
Yeah, great. The wedding happens. Felix and Lucy go together to the wedding as a couple.
Everyone's so happy.
Everyone's happy. It's like a divine, joyful, wonderful, beautiful time. And then they get back to Lucy's apartment after the wedding. And they kind of have this big blow-up argument. They have this big fight. Because
it's not even an argument, though. It's like I don't feel like they're angry, but they just have this like.
They're not
big
angry,
chat.
but it's this like big, intense kind of probably the most intense. Oh, I don't know. The one on the beach is pretty intense. But anyway, they have this like moment. There's this disagreement where Lucy's basically saying that like she just wants to pack everything up and move to PEI right now because she's scared about having Bridget move, and she just like kind of doesn't want to deal with the business, and there's all this stuff going on.
And she just wants to be with him. She's like,
and she just desperately wants to be with Felix.
I can't imagine not being with you.
Yeah.
I can't. And I think I even highlighted one where she said, I don't want to be alone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and my annotation is literally, girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's really freaking out. And basically Felix, I was really proud of how he communicated all of this to her in this moment, because he basically says, well, one of the quotes is, Lucy, I want to be with you, but I need to know that you want to be with me for the right reasons, not because you need a break from your life. I can't be your escape route. I don't want to be a stop along your journey. I want to be the destination. And like, he's really emotionally vulnerable with her there. He says like, you've got my whole heart, basically. Like, you could crush me in this if we do this poorly. And like, Lucy gets it. She's terrified because she's like, oh my God, like,
is he breaking up with me?
Is he breaking up with me? And
he
he's
doesn't love
basically
me? And
he's basically not, but like, they do agree to like take a break and basically wait for Lucy to figure out what she actually wants and make sure that she's in this for the right reasons. And she is really good about it, in that she's like, no, Felix deserves a relationship that's really steady and like has a good foundation, that we start this correctly. And so it's kind of a third act breakup literally after they've just gotten together. But then they do spend like months. How long is it? It ends up being a couple months.
It's a long time. Yeah, they spend 2 to 3 months without even talking.
Yeah.
And then they start talking on the phone and cooking food together.
Yeah.
And then
like over a video call.
She ends up sending him seeds and he ends up sending her books, which is an inverse of what they were doing before. So it's almost like she's getting to know him better through reading books, and she's sending these seed packets to him that are related to the food that they cook, and also related to her dream that she's gone back to concocting, of like having the farm and like growing a veggie patch and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So there's sort of like long distance dating for a while, over the phone, doing lots of FaceTimes. But it's
while she's like figuring out how to live by herself properly for the first time, because Bridget has left at this point, and she's not in a relationship. She's kind of like discovering who she is as an adult again, like making friends, choosing what she actually wants to do, like making changes with the business, all this kind of stuff.
Taking a step back from work and giving more power to Farah and a few of the other employees, like, all that kind of stuff. So she really does a good job of it.
She does a really good job, and that's why I think this third act breakup makes so much sense, because then when they do come back together, it's because she's chosen what she wants. And when they have that reuniting, because she buys a plot of land out on PEI to make her cuppa farm, and she goes to him, and to show him it, she goes and to ask him if he wants to be a part of this dream and if they can be together again. But in her internal monologue, as she's going there, she's like, I know I want to be here whether Felix wants to be with me or not. Like, I'm choosing this for me, and if he says no, that'll be really hard, but this is still what I want to do. And it was like, great. Yeah. Like, this is the start that they need. This is the foundation that they need for their relationship, where she also knows what she wants and is going after it. Yeah. And I was just like, this is so perfect, which is why I think that third act breakup makes sense.
Yeah, I think it makes perfect sense. One thing I highlighted as well that was like quite harsh in this breakup is that so Felix did have a really serious relationship with a girl and then a woman called Joy. They were like together from when they were like sort of 15, 16, and then he proposed to her. They were engaged, and then a week after they got engaged, she broke it off, and it was like devastating for him and devastating for Bridget, we find out, because Joy was one of her best friends.
Hence the Bridget, don't fall in love with my brother
kind of
thing. It's like, we've done this before and it sucked.
Yeah, and it's almost like, I don't want anyone to break his heart again, because he's still really vulnerable after Joy, and also I don't want to lose a friend. Yeah. So that's a whole thing. But one of the things that we learn much later in the story is that like when Joy broke it off with Felix, one of the reasons why is because she was like, wow, it's sort of, and they both realized this, but that they were sort of just like living the life laid out for them kind of thing, because they got together so young, and then they just were like, okay, well obviously you go to college and I get a job, and then we get married, and then we do this. And it was sort of at the moment of him proposing, Joy realizes, actually I don't want this. I want to live a different life, and you are lovely and wonderful and I love you, but I don't want to be with you like this, and I don't want this life. And one of the things she says to him is that like, I need to find myself. I need to go and like do this sort of stuff. And then Bridget and Lucy in their like hating of Joy, because Joy was such a bitch, and you know she did this.
Turns out she's amazing and
lovely. Bridget's just a fucking sook and can't handle that kind of shit. They used to kind of like they worked it into their vernacular. So it'd be like,
I need to find
do you want to
myself.
like watch a movie tonight? Oh, I'm really sorry. I actually just need to find myself. Like, you know, all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And then in this big conversation with Felix,
Yeah.
Lucy says, right after the line that you read, Lucy, I want to be with you, but I need to know that you want to be with me for the right reasons, not because you need a break from your life. And she says, it's not just that, Felix, it's you. I don't want, oh no, sorry, that's the wrong bit. I need to be alone. She goes, Felix, I just need some time to figure things out. I need to find myself, you know?
And he like freezes up.
Yeah, he like physically flinches and recoils
And
from this.
she recognizes it straight away.
Yeah, she's like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have
I'm
said
not
that.
her.
And he's like,
Pause on this.
and she's like, oh my God. So yeah, that I was just like, ooh. But yeah, I thought it worked really well. It made a lot of sense for both of them. And so I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Because again, this reminded me of People We Meet on Vacation, M. Hen, which has a famous kind of third act breakup almost as soon as they get together.
Yeah.
Alex is like, Poppy, you're a fucking mess. You need to figure out what you want.
Yeah.
And I don't want to just be the thing that makes you feel good and then you just like drop me again.
Yeah.
Like, don't do this unless you're deadly serious, because I'm deadly serious about you. And so I was kind of like, this is interesting of like, I feel like we're seeing a bit of a trend, right, with like the FMC being in need of like working on herself before being in a relationship. And so I was going to ask you, like, how common do you think this is now? Because to me, it feels like a very modern understanding of introspective, self-reflective, especially for the woman, because it's often the woman that's really together and the man that's a total mess, or like a big man baby, and he just needs to, you know, not be afraid of commitment and like blah blah blah. And I was thinking, like, in the 80s, the 90s, and the early 2000s, like the classic rom-com thing would be either the man is really fucked up and needs to sort of shit out, and he does by being with the woman, or they're both really kind of messed up, but they're like, let's be messed up together.
Yeah.
And this to me feels like a really modern
I
change
agree.
of like the woman being like, oh wow, I need to like figure out myself and do what I want to do, and the man being emotionally intelligent enough and secure enough to be like, I can't be with you until you figure this stuff out.
Yes, and I want to be, and I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
But you need to sort this out. Yeah, I agree. I think it's a very modern thing, and I think it's even fairly unusual for most romances still.
Right, okay. So it must just be because I've read a couple of them.
Yeah, and it's nice to see that trope flipped on its head, where it's like, I think maybe even makes a lot of sense for today's day and age, where we don't want to read about a man who doesn't have his shit together. Like, we're reading a romance book, it's not real life, but we know there are men out there like this, so like, why don't we read about it? And like, I get pretty bored and sick of the man who's the emotionally immature one, or needs to work on himself, that kind of thing. I like it either when they both do and they both are facing their fears and both are facing their things, or like this, where it's like, no, she needs to do her thing. I like sorry, I was just having all these thoughts rushing through my head. I was like, whoa, my brain. I like that it's like an inverse of the trope that we were saying. So often when it's like the man is the one that quote unquote needs fixing, or like needs to work on some things, and it's by being with the woman that is fixed, and she's the one that like heals him. Like, this is the inverse of that, but in multiple ways, because it's not just like we've swapped the genders or like we've swapped the roles, but it's also that like the man is healthy enough in this, or the MMC in this book and in others is healthy enough to say like, I'm not going to be the one to fix you. We're not going to stay in the relationship and I'll fix all your problems. Like, no, we're going to wait on this, and you need to go deal with it. Like, it's a difference of the trope in multiple ways. Does that make sense?
It does indeed.
Yeah.
And it's I hate to bring everything back to my girl, but it's very Jane Austen.
Very Jane Austen.
Yeah, which is sort of like, you know, the classic thing, that like the Bronte thing is like, I'll fix him, and the Jane Austen thing is like, he'll fix himself if he knows what's good for him.
Exactly.
Yeah, so like, I like that too. I like the role reversal. And again, if you're thinking about a predominantly AFAB readership, seeing an AFAB character, an FMC, make mistakes, go through this process and like kind of struggle with these things and deal with it, and then still get her happy ending is like really empowering and nice. And I'm sure there are a lot of AFAB readers out there that are like, I see so much of myself in Lucy, or I was in a similar situation, and you know, blah 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 blah. So I think that it's nice getting that complexity in that character.
Absolutely.
For sure. Right, well, shall we move on now to talk about the romance, the intimacy, and the sex?
Yes, let's do it.
So if you don't want to hear any little sexy bits, then pause pause here or skip to the next chapter. But I don't actually think there's going to be that much to say.
There's not that much to say.
Yeah.
And fear not, it is not explicit.
It was really not explicit.
It's, okay, here's what I wrote. Hot, steamy, sweet, perfect.
Yes.
5 out of 5 for me. I'm going to go straight in.
Yeah. I thought it was really sexy. I thought it was really hot.
Intimate, sweet, respectful, consensual.
Not explicit. I have one banned phrase.
Me too.
Only one.
One.
It's probably the same one.
Maybe
to
it's
be
the
honest.
same one.
It's probably the same one. We'll get to that. One banned phrase, and it's not even actually about them having sex. It's
about a kiss.
Yes.
It is.
It's the same one.
Same. So there you go, guys. Literally one banned phrase, but it's actually about a kiss.
Yep.
Not about the sex. The sex is gorgeous, and there's
Should we
nothing.
Should we say it at the same time?
Okay.
So we say 1, 2, 3, and then we say it's 2 words,
It's 2
right?
words.
Yeah. Wait, I need to make sure I'm saying the words in the right order.
Okay. Wait, if it's actually different, that's gonna be really funny.
That's gonna be so funny. Hang on.
But yeah.
Oh no, 2 words, right towards the end of the book, right?
Yeah.
Chapter 39, I have.
Oh, let me pick up which chapter it is for me. Oh no, mine's in a different spot.
Oh my god, okay.
Mine's
we
in
have
chapter
2.
28. Okay, so
Okay.
good. I'm glad we checked that. So different things, but they're both
cut out that
about
whole thing.
kisses.
They are both about kisses.
Okay, great. So two banned phrases, one from each of us, only about kisses, not about the sex. And so many beautiful intimate moments other than the sex as well.
Yeah. The romance was really lovely. The intimacy was beautiful. And again, I think because it just felt really realistic.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know I'm biased because this is my favorite trope. And it's a little bit of that like forced proximity kind of thing as well.
Totally.
But yeah, I thought all their sex scenes were really hot.
Yeah.
The one in the bathroom.
The one in the bathroom? Oh my goodness.
My God.
Yeah.
And there was like quite a few annotations where I just
Same.
made it like, I'm just like hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, where is it? Okay.
Okay, the first. See, it makes me blush, and it's like not. It's nothing like. There's no D word. There's no P word.
There's nothing.
There's nothing
No
that we've
explicit
spoken about
content.
previously. But it is so hot.
Yeah, I think the one in the bathroom is the.
I think that's the
is
hottest one.
The hottest one. So this is the second summer. It's because the first time is
the first time is
she
when they
doesn't know
sleep
who
together
he
at the
is.
beginning. Yeah. And then this is the second summer, and they're staying together, and he's still at the house.
Yeah,
and they
she's
run
like
into each other.
coming out of the bathroom in a towel, and she runs into him in the hallway, and then he's kind of like,
Oh, and she forgets something in the bathroom, so she goes back in.
and she like pulls him in, and she's like,
come in. She's like,
"Stop
we
flirting
can't
with
do
me."
this.
And he's like, you're pulling me into the bathroom. And then they have sex like with him like from behind looking at the mirror, which like I'm not into the mirror thing, but like it was hot for them. And just like so sexy
And the fact that
anyway.
it's literally steamy. Like she's just had a hot
So
shower. Everything's steamy.
steamy.
She's
She's
like,
all
I'll wipe
naked.
the. Oh my gosh.
And he's talking to her
It's
about what
he
he's going
says.
to do.
It's not even actual sex. It's like what he's saying. That's
He's like
the hot
describing
stuff.
to her what he's going to do to her. And then, and so the thing is, he has a nickname that all the family calls him Wolf. It's because he used to cry all the time, like a little howling wolf as a baby.
So Bridget calls him Wolf. Everyone calls him Wolf. Lucy even starts calling him Wolf.
Yeah.
And is like, Wolf, get in here, Wolf. Dude.
Yeah,
Like,
but she knew him as Felix originally, right? Which is like in that very first chapter anyway. And so she decides to like, if we do this, it's only the one time. Like, and she says, Wolf, we need to get it out of our systems. Okay, just this once. And he's like, I'll agree to that. I have one condition though. And she's like, let's hear it.
I've written this exactly.
Yeah. And
Oh
she
my
goes,
God.
he stepped into me. His lips drifted over my ear. When you come, I want you to call me Felix. And I was like,
I know, I highlighted that exact same one. I know, it's insane. It's insane, guys. It's so hot, but it's like not explicit at all. It's like this is what I mean. It's like perfect.
Yeah.
Like 10 out of 10 sex and intimacy because like it's not disgusting. There's nothing gross at all about it, and most of the stuff that we're finding hot is not the sex itself.
it's all the chat around
It's
it.
all the chat. It's all the
vibes.
tension. It's all the stuff. Oh my gosh. Okay, so.
Also, one of my annotations, because I know this is a running theme that we had, and it was mostly from M. Hen, like Great Big Beautiful Life, and we went on for a long time about how Hayden is not a fuckable name. Like, that's just so gross. And then my very first annotation on his name, when he introduces himself, Felix, and I just said, an inherently fuckable name.
And it
He is so hot.
He's so hot and it's insane. So now I wanted to share the quote that I teased earlier where there was like a, oh my gosh, we just have to do this kind of moment. So it's before, okay, I think it's like the next summer and it's something. Felix is staying downstairs in like a rumpus room, I guess.
The TV room.
The TV
Yeah.
room. And Lucy's upstairs and she says, fuck it, I whispered to myself, I deserved an orgasm or 7.
Yes, She's like,
right, I'm going to go downstairs. And that was just, I found that a really funny quote. And then another really intimate, beautiful moment, which I really liked, is when they go to visit the Anne of Green Gables historical preservation like house.
Oh, yeah.
Which is actually not where they filmed the movies, but like it's basically this house that's like, this is where she could have lived. And so they're walking through, it's just Felix and Lucy, because Bridget begged off for some reason, I don't know.
Yeah.
But they're going around and it's beautiful, and there's like a billion quotes from the movies. But she gets really sore feet, and so like he's like sits her down, and they're like sitting under a tree together.
Oh, he's like massaging her feet or
takes
something.
Her shoes off and massages her feet, and she said, "This is the quote from her internal monologue. I close my eyes and tilt my face to the sun because Felix is about to give my foot an orgasm, and I can't look at him or what his hands are doing." But like he's so sweet, and it's like it's such an intimate moment, and like really quite. Yes, sensual even, but like not sexy. Like as in it's not actual sex.
Yeah,
like,
but it's just like they've just got this chemistry.
They've got this chemistry.
One of my favorites is
Love it.
So this is, I think it's in the present day timeline, right? Yeah, I think it is a present day timeline, and they're woken up in the morning. They're all staying together at Summer Wind, the house, and Lucy goes outside and Felix is reading. She goes, "What are you reading?" It's not the same book he had at the airport. Felix holds it up. Pride and Prejudice.
Okay.
And he goes, "Is he kidding me?" And he goes, "What?" He says, "If I didn't know Felix, I'd assume he was setting a thirst trap.
Literally.
But he's not aware of. His degree of hotness plus a Jane Austen novel is pornographic." My annotation is just screaming.
So I put that down as under one of my Easter eggs because I was like, oh my goodness, Pride and Prejudice, and I was like, this is just for Amy.
And then
like,
there's another
Carley Fortune
moment.
wrote that there specifically for you, Amy.
There's another moment back there. This is once they're together at Summer Wind and they're just like vibing. And this is they're together, but before she's moved to PEI. So, they're together on the island. Sometimes they're together in Toronto. Like she's still sorting her stuff out. Like she's bought the land, but she's not moving yet.
And she hasn't told him.
And it says, "I spend a week on the island in June. He picks me up at the airport, blah, blah, blah. He buys me a coffee maker. It shows me how to make a perfect cup of tea." I think this is even in like the epilogue or something. Anyway, we cook together. I choose a book of poetry from his collection and he reads it to me in the evening. But he doesn't read for long because poetry from Felix's lips uncoils me in a brand new way and I'm on my knees after only a few stanzas. I choose Austen the next night. It's no better.
Yeah.
And I just was like,
hot. So hot. So incredibly hot. Hot.
Just for
hot. Hot. Yep. It's insane. Yep. So basically, it's incredible. Okay.
Yeah.
What are our banned phrases? We've got to do the banned phrases.
Okay.
And then we can move on because that's literally it.
that's it. It's just great. It's 10 out of 10.
I'll do my banned phrase first because it's earlier in the book.
Yes.
Okay. Chapter 28. And they are kissing, and I think it's in the rain. And yes, it's a rear kiss. I just don't like this phrase. So, they're kissing. The phrase is wet flesh. I just hated it. And again, it's because of a kiss. I'll read the sentence. I curl my fingers into his hair, locking him to me, and our kiss becomes an urgent collision of hot tongues and wet flesh and frenzied fingers. Fine, okay, it's just about a kiss. But I was like, ugh, wet flesh.
Wet flesh.
And it's in the rain, so I get it. They are literally wet.
But it's the flesh of it all.
the flesh of it all as well.
Because it sounds like meat.
Exactly. Like, why is your chicken wet? Do you know what I mean?
Why are we in a butcher shop all of a sudden?
So, wet flesh, that's mine. What's yours?
Mine is lips slick.
Oh, again. Slick.
And it's the same thing. It's about a kiss. They're about to have sex. This is after they've like told each other they love each other. And she goes, I make him lie down so I can get on top. I look at him beneath me, lips slick, eyes hooded. And so it's just like they've just kissed,
just the
and
kiss
then his lips are wet. And
whatever.
I'm like, lips.
I think she just chose weird words to describe the kisses, and like that's fine. There were a lot of kisses actually, to be fair, in this book, and so the fact that we only have 2.
Yeah,
and
that's actually
about the kisses,
really,
like,
really,
the sex
really
is actually
good.
fine. It's great. She did really good.
Other things that I found really hot is that he braids her hair.
He braids her hair,
which was also a micro trope that I put in. He does her hair.
Yes.
Or like he like
true.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing? I'm helping. More tugging.
Yeah.
He's like trying to braid her.
He's braiding her hair.
Sweet. I also really love that he really finds her nightgowns like really hot. She always wears nightgowns, and her ex was
That
like
was
kind of like
unhinged.
awful about it and like didn't like her nightgowns, and he loves it. He froths her
wears
nightgowns, like Victorian
to floor, like frilly old lady grandma nightgowns, and he like is like, I want to fuck it. And she has plaits, hence why I'm wearing plaits today.
And also a very Anne of Green Gables thing to have plaits.
Yeah.
So just like even as she's looking at her most, this is a quote from Gilmore Girls, visually vulnerable, he's like so hot for her still.
Yeah, it's so good. Well, I think that's like literally all that I had to say about the sex and intimacy.
Same.
Like, yeah, I thought it was really sexy. And I think so much of it because it was not explicit and because the relationship and the chemistry, everything around it was really hot.
Yes.
And again, the scene setting helped, like all the places where they had sex, like because they have sex in the bathroom, they have sex in the TV room, they have sex on the beach, like they have all these places in his cottage, like in that later time. And so it was just like, it was really hot and really tasteful. And consent was really well represented. Yeah. He never sort of was, I think a couple of times he said, do you want this? And every single time protection was mentioned. Like he just always had a condom on him.
He always had a condom on him because he just always is very hopeful, I guess.
So yeah, that was really good. But I don't think I had anything else to say about that.
Me neither. Very good.
So we only had the 2 banned phrases. Did you have some like favorite quotes that you wanted to share?
So this is the favorite quote section in the book, in our book that we wrote. Empty. I have too many. I was sitting yesterday trying to write my notes for this, and I looked at it and I was like, I actually have just way too many. So how about you start and I will see if I can like condense any down, because I literally looked at it, I was like, oh my god, where do I even start?
Because I had quite a few as well. So like obviously some I've already mentioned, which was like the Jane Austen like Pride and Prejudice lines.
I know a lot of my favorite quotes we've already mentioned.
And some that I really liked where it was like after a night that they've spent together and they're all like snuggled up, and she describes it as being twisted together like 2 ampersands, which is the little amp sign. And I was like, that's so cute. That's just like a cute little visual image. And then this is a line from Farah, who is the very acerbic,
I think I've got the same one.
Very acerbic
employee
in Bloom.
And kind of friend. Like
she's cool. Yeah, I really liked her. And it just says, she says to Lucy one morning when she's back and she's like pretty haggard and tired, and she just says, you look like an anal gland. And part of me is like,
what is an anal gland?
What an anal gland looks like, Farah? Why are you being weird?
True. I have a different quote from Farah while we're on Farah, and it's at the wedding, I think, or like around the wedding. And Farah says, your heart's leaking out your eyeballs. Oh, yeah. Farah says across the space because she's just crying so much.
That's a good one. And she had a lot of great lines. And then the fact that like every time anybody sees Felix, they're just like, oh my god. And I really liked, we get one of the flashbacks, Aunt Stacey, Lucy's aunt, who she's really close with, comes and to the shop, and Felix is there, and she sees him and meets him, and she's just like, oh my god. And she like says to him, she goes, he's edible. Like, yeah, he really is. He's really sexy.
Edible.
But yeah, I didn't actually have that many other ones highlighted because they were just kind of all really fun and cutesy. And I think the other thing that I highlighted was from very early on when this is in the prologue, so her and Felix, she has no idea who he is at this point, that is back in the house and they're getting ready to sleep together. And she says, I don't notice much about his room, just the worn copy of Wide Sargasso Sea on his nightstand that caught my eye as he kissed his way down my body. And I just highlighted it and wrote, ooh, edgy.
Edgy.
She goes, he reads Wide Sargasso Sea. Like,
and she sends a copy of that to him later on.
Yeah, a hardbound copy. Anyway, I just thought that was kind of funny, that I was a little bit like, oh no, is he going to be some like artsy, like fuckboy type vibe? They're like, oh yeah, I read Wide Sargasso Sea. And I was like, shut up.
No, but he's not.
No, it's fine.
I'm not going to say any favorite quotes because I've just read through them, and that sounds really weird, but like there's actually too many, and a lot of them is like would require some context to read them out loud. And so, okay, here's going to be my favorite quote, the whole book. Just go read the whole thing.
Let me read it from start to finish.
Let me start. So the very first opening is, isn't it nice to think that tomorrow is a new day with no mistakes in it yet? Ellen Montgomery, Anne of Green Gables. And then that she opens with that
Yeah.
quote. So just go read it.
Yeah.
Just go read the book. Damn it, it's so good.
Would it be easier then if you've been teasing that you have a lot of
let's
Easter
do that.
eggs? Because
Yes.
I picked a couple, but obviously I'm not very au fait with Anne of Green Gables, so I didn't pick that many.
Oh my goodness. Okay, we could
but
be
it might
here
be
forever.
easier to see if we can narrow this
I
down
will narrow
as
it
well.
down. So obviously, first of all, Easter eggs wise, Lucy's name, Lucy Maud Montgomery wrote Anne of Green Gables. Page 6. I really went through this. So the dress that Lucy's wearing when she first comes,
the gingham,
the gingham dress she's wearing to PEI where she first meets Felix, has puffed sleeves, which is a whole thing, okay? And really in like Anne of Green Gables desperately wants a dress with puffed sleeves, and it's too frivolous because you don't need that much. Like, it would cost a lot to buy extra fabric to make a dress with puffed sleeves, and Matthew buys her a dress with puffed sleeves, and it's very beautiful. So puffed sleeves was like a legit whole thing. And then I had page 43, there was a description of Felix that he always had a paperback tucked in the back pocket of his jeans, which this is not necessarily a legit Easter egg. I'm just reading into this. That's very Jess Mariano coded. Some Gilmore Girls.
Yeah,
he always had a paperback tucked in the back of his jeans.
He does have a bit of Jess about him, doesn't he?
He does have a bit
he's
of a
not
Jess.
as broody.
No, and he actually is emotionally intelligent.
I think he's Jess who is healthy.
Yeah. And then I had the P&P.
Yeah.
All of that,
All
Pride and Prejudice stuff in there. Then we've got there's a bunch of quotes from directly from Anne of Green Gables, especially when they're visiting the house. They are just like non-stop quoting.
They're just quoting backwards and forwards at each other.
Tomorrow's a new day with no mistakes in it. What is it? I'm in the depths of despair. Would you rather be divinely beautiful, dazzlingly clever, or angelically good? Kindred spirits are not so scarce as I used to think. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
There's just like a whole list of them. There's even a moment where Felix says that he doesn't want to miss Lucy's defense, like her argument defending Jonathan Crombie's portrayal of Gilbert Blythe. So again, just like the way she weaved it into the world, it's like very clear that not just like she's writing about Anne of Green Gables, like Carley Fortune writing about Anne of Green Gables in the setting of Prince Edward Island, but like these characters, Bridget, Felix, and Lucy, know and love Anne of Green Gables as well. Obviously, they grew up on PEI.
Yeah, it'd be like living in Stratford upon Avon and like deliberately not knowing anything about Shakespeare. It's like, come on, you just can't do that if you live there. That's the way it goes.
Yeah. So that was a lot of it. And then the final Easter egg that I had, which was not an Anne of Green Gables one, actually, was that one of the books...
That's the one I highlighted!
One of the books that Lucy sends to Felix is Happy Place.
By Emily Henry. Yes, exactly, which I have read that one. We haven't done it on the pod, but I have read that. And that is sort of about... two former lovers like reconnecting at like this friend's family's like summer house basically. So it's a very similar vibe. Yes. And I also just thought that I was like, that's Carley Fortune doing what a lot of contemporary romance authors do, which is give a shout out to M. Hen because she's the fucking queen.
She's the queen of contemporary romance.
She paved the way for a lot of them.
She paved the way.
Yeah.
And so I just thought that one was really lovely. Yeah. I also really love Happy Place. It's one of my favorites of M. Hen. Yeah. So those are my Easter eggs.
So good. I love that. So, did you have a standout favourite character?
I think Felix.
Yeah, me too. I was trying to think because I liked a lot of elements of Lucy.
Yes, and like Lucy, she is still up there. But there's something beautiful about Felix.
I really liked Felix. I thought he was good. Yeah. And I liked the friends. I liked their friend Zach.
Yeah.
I really liked Aunt Stacey. Of the bits that we got to see her. Yeah. I did have, as always, an animal side character or like weird side character. Can you guess who it is?
No.
It's Wowie, the cow, in the airport.
Duh. Yeah.
There's like a cow statue in the Prince Edward Island airport that like every time they go there,
Lucy loves it.
Lucy's like, oh, Wowie, and like, and then when she comes back in the present timeline, Wowie's been removed. It's gone. Just like really heartbreaking.
Yeah. Sad.
Anything else that we need to say? I think that's kind of it, right?
That's it. Shall we do our little wrap-up ratings?
Yeah, do our overall rating. So, how would you rate this out of 5 spice rating?
5. But not because it's like overly spicy, just because I think previously I've rated it on like spiciness level, so I guess spice-wise like a 2. But like like overall, like just the sensation, the feeling of the everything 5. It's just perfect. It's delightful.
I would say in terms of like what the sex is, I'd say 2 or 3 out of 5 in terms of spiciness, because there's some like pretty hot stuff in there.
Yeah.
But then how I enjoyed it, 5 out of 5. Perfect.
It's gorgeous.
Overall book rating?
5.
Nice.
This is
big surprise.
truly a 5-star read for me. I just adore it.
Yeah. I like 4.5.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I only shaved off the half because of the frustration of Bridget.
So fair.
Even though, as you and I have said, it worked, it made sense. I get that it's part of the thing. I still was like,
Yeah.
Would you reread this book?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you already
I've literally written always. Yes, always.
You already have, and you would read it again.
Oh, yeah.
I was unsure whether I would reread it, only because I just feel like I enjoyed it so much that first time.
You don't want to, like,
I'm
mess
not
with
actually sure if I would get anything else out of it reading it again.
I completely hear you. I think this has become like a bit of a comfort read for me, or it will. Like, this is only the second time I read it because I had much the same sensation after reading it the first time, where I was like, this moved me so much the first time I read it and was so dear to me that I almost don't want to disrupt that, like that memory of having read it for that first time. So yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. So like, I mean, if they made a film of it, I would probably watch the film like once a month.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if I would necessarily reread it. But I might.
I've enjoyed rereading
for
it.
it.
Yeah.
In like a year or so.
Yeah.
Would you read more from this author?
Absolutely, I have, and I will continue to. Yeah, she's
Obviously.
we talked about this off pod, but genuinely, M. Hen and Carley Fortune for me are like rival top authors in my
Rivals to lovers.
Rivals to lovers.
Yeah, I feel like they are definitely on par, and I would absolutely read more from this author. I plan to in the next few weeks, right? If I got to get out for the adaptation, damn. So I would read more from this author. And I'm very excited because I feel like I really like her vibe, and it very much felt like an M. Hen for me as well.
Yeah. Would you recommend this to a friend?
Yes.
Yeah,
definitely.
me too.
And I would recommend it to my mother.
Me too.
I think she would like it. I think it's kind of wholesome and cute. I'm not sure if she would enjoy it as much as we did, but it's such an easy, lovely read and a great holiday read for her, I think.
Yeah, my mum really wants to visit Canada, so I think I'm going to have to get her onto the Carley Fortunes because they're all set in Canada.
Yeah, and we love that. We love a non-United States romance.
Absolutely.
Well, that's all for today. Hope you enjoyed our Carley Fortune deep dive as much as we did. Let us know what you think that we should read next, because I actually feel like we are coming up to our historical episode, maybe.
Yeah.
So we'll see how we go. And get in touch with us on social media. Send us a voice note, send us a message. We'd love to know what you're reading and what you thought about this book, especially if you loved it as much as we did. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and watch us on YouTube at Historical Romance Review. But until next time, happy reading.
Happy reading. Go read Anne of Green Gables and then go read this. It's a command.
That's the sign off.
Go do it.
You have your
right
instructions.
The Historical Romance Review is written, recorded and produced in Meanjin, Brisbane. All editing is done by Sarah Brain, original artwork by Caitlin Adams, original theme music composed by Johnny Barahona, who you can follow on Instagram at JohnnyNvivo, spelt JohnnyEnvivo. Sound support is provided by Zach Costa, and recording equipment and guidance generously provided by John Ward. Thank you to everyone who continues to support this project with their expertise and enthusiasm. You can find all our episodes on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.